You know, they were in Egypt.
Okay.
And so they experienced the building of the pyramids.
So the Ewes also contributed to the building of the pyramids?
They were in Egypt. So they were there when the pyramids were built. You see, the pyramids were caves. They were like graves for their kings. In fact, they called their kings Fiao.
Okay.
That is chiefs.
Fiao.
The best is Pharaoh. Pharaoh, Fiao. It's an Ewe word.
Oh.
It's an Ewe. I was telling you, you have a script called the Dead Sea Scroll. I was in Israel in 2008, and I saw the cave in which they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. They were packed in, and we were told a shepherd took the flock of sheep, and one of them got missing. And he thought the lost sheep might be in the cave, so he threw a stone. But when the stone hit the surface, the sound that came was not that of rock hitting rock.
Okay.
So he peeped in and he saw the scrolls packed from Genesis right down to the last prophet. People thought that they were smuggled to be hidden there during an attack by the enemy to preserve them. So in that scroll, the first sentence was in a beginning, not in the beginning. Yeah.
In a beginning.
Okay. And then also, man should live in union with God's creation, not to have dominion. And a third word was that Abraham the Ewe. So the Ewe, through a lot of translation, became the Hebrews.
I see.
So they were part of construction of, and they were also there when the Tower of Babel was constructed. Yeah, because they were part of the dispersed people who left Babylon.
Okay.
So they had an idea of construction of walls. So, but the one they constructed in Ngochi was for punishment, for killing of that Ngochi man. So when the other resolved to leave Ngochi, they instructed the women to pour all bath water, all waste water, any water which has been used on the wall to soften it soft. Then on the appointed day, there was a lot of drumming and dancing as a camouflage. Okay. Because they know they like drumming and dancing. And then they call one of the chief priests, Sally, to pray for the breaking down of the wall. So Sally made the last libation in Ngochi, and he invoked the ancestors that built the wall and pleaded with them to allow them to break it, because they knew they labored in building that wall. And so for their descendants to break that wall, it means their labor was in vain. So Charlie had to explain to the ancestors that it became necessary that the wall should be broken down for them to be liberated. Okay. Then he caused a deep sleep to fall on Ngochi Township, so that when they were beating the drum, they could not hear it, and when they started, the wall was broken down, that big bang. Now what he did was, one of the elders who was hidden, to prevent him being killed by God, because he decided to kill all the elders to exterminate their source of knowledge. But they hit one of them called Tegli, and Tegli had the sword of liberation. So that night, Tegli was brought out, and after Sally made a libation, he handed over the sword to Sally, and Sally handed over to Aso. Aso was one of the chiefs of the subsets, and it was Aso that plunged the sword into the wall, and the wall, as if being pushed by unseen hands, cracked in very many places and fell, and so the people walked out. That sword is called the sword, the dagger of liberation, and it's in the custody of the Asok people. Whole state is the Asok state. So when the people left, they moved as a group and came to settle at Ngochi. At Ngochi, sow beans.
Okay.
And at the time of harvest, they also decided to move on.
Corn.
To move on,
No, to move
to leave the place. And then some people said they will stay for the beans to mature before they will leave. So they remained there. And the time became 12 years. 7 years, let it grow small to harvest before we leave. So the people who left there, they left under various leaders. A group left under Aso, and they became the Asogli state of Ho.
Okay.
Another left at Kojode, they became the state of Peki.
Okay.
Another left at Gabusu, and they like meaning the Hohe people. So the major Ewe-speaking people left under various leaders. Now the Anglos left under Togbi Kumassah.
Togbi Kumassah.
Kumassah. And then assisted by his nephew Togbi Sri and Togbi Lanza. They are all the nephews of Togbi Kumassah. Now they moved from Mochi, from Chevie, and walked. This time they walked southwestwards.
Okay.
Until they came to Achiteti. First they settled at Kliko for a period of time. Then they moved to Volta. But they were not still satisfied. Then the majority of them left again. And then they were hearing the sound of the waves.
Okay.
So they were
Following
the sound until they reached Kaji.
Okay.
Now at Kaji, Vanya exclaimed, "We have reached top of the sand." So top of the sand is Kaji.
Okay. So that's what Kaji means.
Yes.
Okay.
They still continued to move on, and they came to Keta, and they called that place the head of the sand.
Oh,
They didn't know that they have more sand beyond Keta, so they stayed in Keta for a while before they move again to Togbi, the next settlement. Then essentially moved to Alakble, to Koji, and then they came to Angloga.
Wow.
When they reached Angloga, they became very, very tired.
Okay.
And the leader, Togbi Kumassah, made a famous exclamation, "I'm tired. I could not move on again." So he said, Mangolo. And according to one source, that becomes the name of the settlement.
Okay.
So that settlement is called Angloga.
Oh, okay.
We are all Anglo people.
Okay.
But another meaning for Anglo is right,
Okay.
because we are the scribes.
So it's your right.
Yes.
Okay.
And you write in songs and proverbs and the wise sayings of the land.
Okay.
There are so many words which are books. One word you can't it's enough to teach you what you have to know.
Okay.
So that is what we become to. So when we talk of Anglo people, we can regard them as the scribes. You also describe the literates. The literates. You see, literacy doesn't mean you only read it right. When you are knowledgeable in world news, world knowledge. You see, to know. To know means to experience. To experience. So if you say Nunyala, that is the person who has experienced the thing. Know a thing. Nya is know. And so the man who has experienced the thing is called Nunyala.
Guys, I hope you are following this. This is quite interesting conversation. So we just keep going.
Now, I'll give another word, which is like a book. Now, when we say Eyi Mbulama, it means he has gone to the garden of knowledge, which is stored here. So if you bring an issue to an elderly person like me, I will go to the garden of knowledge. I will sit like this. I went there, and the experiences that I had in relation to the issue you bring, I'll find a solution and tell you.
Okay.
So it's Nunyagblema. It's the garden of knowledge.
So So this is similar to maybe normal cases in the courts.
Yeah.
Where the judge
retire.
Yeah.
But when they retire, they refer to books.
Yes, exactly.
But we refer to the knowledge that we have.
So this is what King Solomon was the one.
Yeah, King Solomon is our son.
Yeah, he had to refer to
the knowledge. He didn't refer to any law book.
Yeah, that's right.
The knowledge we have is stored here.
Yeah, okay.
And that makes us more dangerous than other people.
Oh.
Because we keep a lot of knowledge in the minds. And then any issue that comes, we refer to the past. And then find out how that issue was resolved and what we apply. You understand?
Yes.
Now, another word, agbagba. Agbagba means the child is learning to walk.
Okay.
And when the child wants to walk, learns, he will fall down and stand again. Because he was walking on all fours. Now he's going to walk on twos. So it demands a lot of training. And so we say Agbotaduo. He is packing all the load of life because he's going to start his own way of life.
Okay. Wow. This has been quite knowledgeable. It's quite a lot. Maybe we'll probably wrap up as your time is quite precious. The question I have is, the Evans also have a very interesting greeting.
Yes.
Maybe you can shed some light on that.
Oh yeah. I see we have a communal way of life. So when you come to visit me, you will tell me, if it's in the morning, Ndi. Ndi means morning. Okay. Then I'll say Ndi. How is your house? I'll ask you who is greeting me. How is your house? You say they are well. Your wife, she is well. The children, they are well. Are they all well? I say yes. They also ask me, Togbi, what about your wife? I say she is well. Your children, they are well. Everybody is well. That's the way we greet. It's a very simple kind of question and answer.
For me, growing up, this was music to my ears. So maybe one more time I'd like to hear this greeting.
Okay. If you want to greet somebody in the morning, you have entered the house. Like how the English will say good morning, you say good morning. You also say morning in Efe, which is Ndi. You are telling me Ndi. Okay. Then I will respond Ndi. A family, your house, yes. The children, the viode. Odadari, their mother. They. So you'll be responding, they are fine, she is fine, they are fine. Then I ask, everybody is fine? They say, yes, we are all fine. Then you also reciprocate by asking me, Togbi, no, they say you just Togbi, yourself, your wife, my cousins, my nephews, they say they are all fine. That's how we greet. And if it's more humanistic, then I say, good morning, how are you? But even you will not see whether the person is telling the truth. When you say it's fine, it's not fine. You may be sick, but you say fine. And if you say good morning, are you wishing him good morning? You're asking whether the morning is good. So we will ask you to give us the nature of your morning.
All right. Okay, I actually wanted if we can say, but never mind.
Oh, you can try.
You can try. So if I say Togbi Ndi.
Yeah, Ndi Apamade.
Ndi Apamade.
That's what I'll ask. Oh. Then you answer Wodo. Wodo means they are well.
Wodo.
Wodo.
And
then I'll ask the Viaore, the children. You say you answer again. Wodo.
Wodo.
Afama Tokata. Then you also ask me, a family, I'll answer Wodo, the Via Woli, Miedo, I say Miedo. That's how it is. It's a very simple way of greeting.
Okay. This has been a tremendous little meeting.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed this terribly, and I don't want to take too much of your time. So I think I'll wrap it up. I'll wrap it up here. Thank you very much. And in future, if I need more information, let's see how everybody else reacts to this.
Yeah.
We'll take it from there.
It's a privilege.
Thanks very much. Guys, I look forward to more conversations whenever I come into town, and maybe if there's any more things you wish for me to bring up in the future, let me know in the comments below, and then we can take it from there. So for the time being, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Until then, bye.